Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Alan Frye, who will fight on Real Deal Championship 21, September 6th. Hello, Alan. How are you?
Good man, how you doing?
I'm good. And to be honest, your next fight is a really exciting one because definitely is a big step up in the competition. You will fight against the fighter who fought in the UFC, of course, also in the Ultimate Fighter, and he's got more experience than you. So if you can tell me, how do you deal with this kind of challenge, and do you do anything different in this training camp for Justin Frazier?
Yeah, man. So obviously, I respect his resume. His record. He's 12-3. He's fought in the UFC, but I try to look at every opponent for every matchup as if they're a world champion. So I wouldn't say I do anything different. Whether I'm fighting a guy that's 0-20 or 20-0, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna treat him with the respect that he can beat me on that night because it is the fight game, and anybody can win on every given night. So I just show up to class, train hard, and do everything I can.
And overall, I think that he's got something like 6 years break from the competition, but also it can be in some ways some advantage because he didn't eat a lot of punches in last few years,
Yep.
probably also in the sparring. So maybe he will be just more dangerous than just a 12 and free fighter.
Exactly. And you always want to expect the best version of your opponent. So just because he took 5 years off, that doesn't mean he's been, just sitting around doing nothing for 5 years. He could have been doing extremely hard training and just not getting the fights or whatever, focused on another career in his life, whatever it may be. I'm expecting the best version of himself.
And of course, you like to knock people out. He also got many finishes. So do you think that this will end before like the final bell?
Oh man, I don't really go into the fight with any predictions on how it's going to end. I just go in with a game plan of my own, and I'm going to stick to that game plan. And if it ends in the first round, it does. If it goes all three, I know I have the cardio and the heart to do that. So I'm not really expecting a first round finish, but it's always nice if it happens.
Yes, definitely, because it's like no additional risk. It's just easy fight. But if you finish someone in 30 seconds, are you feel a little bit like disappointment because you prepared so many like training sessions to this kind of moment, and in the end is a little bit short?
Yeah, 100%. It's funny because you go in there and you're happy that it ends in 30 seconds because, like you said, you don't have to risk getting injured. Whatever, you got the fight done, it's over with. But then you're like, dang, I put in all this time to just go do 30 seconds. You want it to last longer and you want to get that cage time and that experience. So there's benefits and negatives to both. But
Yes, definitely. And also about your weight, how like how like what your weight in your previous fights were?
yeah, so I weighed 248 pounds in my last fight. And then I've been roughly around there for pretty much my whole pro career. When I first started fighting, I was like 300 pounds. So my first pro fight or my first amateur fight, I was probably fighting around like 265, maybe 270 because I cut down to it. But after that fight, I really focused in on my diet and just taking care of my body and realizing I'm a heavyweight. There's no point for me to have to do a weight cut if all I have to do is a little bit of extra work and eat healthy. So, so yeah, now I usually fight around like 255, 260.
And actually, to the like heavyweight division is like a few different approaches because there are some fighters who are like 265 and they have to cut weight, and sometimes there are like twinners, something between like light heavyweight and heavyweight division. And either, of course, like the fighters like Cain Velasquez, of course, he was not also not the biggest heavyweight. So you can be a little bit smaller, or also you can be like super big and heavy guy.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's benefits to both. The bigger, heavier guys obviously have strong hands, but somebody that's 240 is still going to be strong, but they can move probably a little bit better. Might be lighter on their feet and just be in better shape.
And of course, your next fight is a really big one, and definitely we are like super focused on Frazier. But do you a little bit think what can be next after this fight? Because in the end, heavyweight division is not really deep. You are of course undefeated as the pro. Also, you didn't lose any fight like in amateur scene. So do you have any like thoughts about your future?
Yeah, man, for sure. All that stuff crosses my mind, but like you said, I am super focused on Frazier because all of that stuff could cross my mind. But if I go and lose to Frazier, then it's all out the window. So main focus is just go get the win here, and with the win, I think maybe a contender series opportunity after that. If there's something that opens up, I know they're doing the new season already, so I'm not too sure how that works, to be honest with you. But maybe something could open up after that if they need like a short notice opponent or something like that. I'd be willing, but I'm just focused on getting the win, and then whatever happens after that, we'll talk about it with my coaches.
Yes, and I also heard something about like the second part of the contender series, and I think that it is much better because in the end, when you have a fight on the regional scene, let's say in September, you will probably not get your shot in the contender series. But if you also we can put also the contender series in like I don't know February or March, definitely more like really good fighters can show their skills in front of Dana White.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
And about your beginnings in the sport, if you can tell me more, what was the first combat sport that you ever trained, and overall when you start like MMA, like full MMA training?
Yeah, man. So when I was in middle school, I did a little bit of boxing. Nothing too serious, just training with a couple friends at a gym and doing some like sparring tournaments and things like that. Um, and then after that, throughout high school and college, I actually switched gears completely and just focused on playing basketball. And when I was done playing basketball, I tried to play professionally. It didn't work out. I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to still be in a competitive sport. And I was just asking around, and I told my buddies that I used to box, and they were just like, "You should go try out this MMA gym, Derek Brunson's gym." And obviously, I knew who Derek was from watching the UFC, and I've always wanted to learn how to wrestle and do a little bit of kickboxing and stuff like that. So it kind of just worked out that way. And then once I heard about Derek's gym, I went in and tried it. Signed up the day that I tried it because I loved it. And yeah, all the coaches told me they thought if I kept training, I could be pretty good. So I stuck with it, and here we are.
Yes, and definitely you have a very good boxing, of course, the knockout power too. But also about like basketball, I think that even if you are like even if you have like a background in any other sport, not combat sport, but any other sport, it definitely can help you because you know this kind of discipline. You know when to train. You are like focused on your goals. So in the end, it's not MMA or the combat sport, but it's definitely prepare your mind to be a successful in like combat sport.
Exactly. That's 100% true, man. It helps. Like basketball has helped me with the nerves of fighting too. I played basketball in front of a bunch of fans and stuff. So that like stage fright that I used to get, I just don't really get it that much anymore. So that's something that helps me and calms me backstage before I go out and fight.
And about your like training and sparring session, because sometimes it's probably hard to find a really good heavyweight, because in the end, it's when you are lightweight, it's a lot of people on the high level. Similar to your size, and with heavier fighters is probably a little bit like harder. So if you can tell me, do you also like train and spar with a little bit like smaller fighters?
Yeah, so my gym is actually pretty mixed up, and we do have a really good amount of big people there, which is great for me because, like you said, most gyms don't. But we do have like five or six other guys that are heavyweights, and a few of them fight as well. So it's really good and competitive. But with that being said, I do train with a lot of like lighter guys as well because it's good to work on all aspects of your game. Going with lighter guys helps me push the faster pace and keep a high cardio. It helps me work on my head movement and my angles and my footwork and things like that, and you just have to be on it because they're so much quicker than you. So it helps with like reflex time and all that too.
And also, do you in your gym, do you have like prospects like you, maybe undefeated, maybe a little bit like earlier in their career, the fighters that you know that they can be successful in the future?
Yeah, 100%. You interviewed Kavanis Hurd. That's my homie, one of my training partners. I think he'll be really good. We have a guy named Alpha Strout. I forget his record. I think he might be 4-2. But he's a really good pro. He's going to be on the come up as well. His little brother Jesse James isn't even 18 yet, but when he's 18, everybody needs to watch out. And then I would say my boy Nakia Stokes. He's an amateur. He's another heavyweight I was mentioning. He's on the come up for sure.
And actually, it's kind of crazy that people who are not adult yet, they are like sometimes 17 or 18, they are already really good. So in like 2, 3, or 4 years, it they can be on really high level. So it's
Yeah,
kind of crazy because like back in the days, few years ago or even more, it wasn't really possible.
no, exactly. We have another really good young guy too, Giovanni Hurd. He's doing his first pro fight in September 6th. Same day as me, just a different card, but
And
he'll be really good too.
and after your fight, how quickly you usually go to the gym and do another, maybe not training camp, but just you just train?
Yeah. So after my last fight, I was in the gym the next day, or not the next day, but on Monday. So I got back home Sunday, and then Monday I was training. That's because I won the fight in 30 seconds. So I was like, God willingly, okay, and not hurt or anything like that. So I was able to just get right back to training. If I go through a fight where I take a few like cuts or bruises or whatever, a little bit of injuries, I'll probably take like a week off, maybe two, just to kind of calm down from the hard fight camp and then the fight, obviously.
And in this moment, when you have a little bit more free time, what do you like to do when you are not like focus everything on MMA?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I don't really do a whole lot besides focus on MMA. I do like to work out other than just like training for MMA. I like going on runs. I like going to get some good lifts in, things like that. Even doing yoga. But other than that, man, I spend most of my time just working or hanging out with like my friends and family. But if I'm not doing one of those two things, it's definitely training.
And do you still play basketball?
I'll go and play basketball every once in a while. There's a couple of rec leagues out here that I play in. I don't get to do it all the time, obviously, because it's a lot on the body with trying to train for fighting and working out and all that too. But yeah, whenever I can, I definitely still like to go play basketball.
And about heavyweight division, who is your favorite heavyweight? Maybe not like overall MMA, maybe not from now, but like overall in the
All
history.
time, definitely Stipe Miocic. Yeah, he is 100% probably my favorite fighter ever. It's between him, Georges St. Pierre. Um, but yeah, Stipe, his game is just like beautiful to watch. He mixes it up well. His boxing is super crisp, which obviously I like as a boxer too. And funny enough, we have pretty much the same exact like height. We're both 6'4", and we both have an 80-inch reach. So he was somebody that I just liked watching growing up. And then now I would say Tom Aspinall is a good like person to look up to and kind of watch and try to mimic his game.
Yes, and Stipe, I think that of course his like trilogy against the DC was a super interesting one, and I thought many years ago that Stipe may not be as successful and as he will be like maybe 2012 to 2013, but then he went on this kind of crazy run. He defeated like Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, so many great fighters, and it's like hard to deny him as the like one of the best heavyweights ever.
Yeah, 100%. I think he is the heavyweight goat, but it's obviously up for debate.
And of course, like about Thomas Pinal right now, probably not many people think that he can lose because especially now the heavyweight division is like super shallow. There is not many really good contenders. There were even been like rumors about Alex Pereira going to the heavyweights. So it's like probably will hard to find him as some good contender.
100%. And I feel like heavyweights just aren't that active. And I obviously haven't fought on that level yet, so I don't know if it's maybe just like the damage that they take, they can't be as active, or if they're just kind of lazy and not in shape and don't want to fight that often. But I think there definitely does need to be more activity in the heavyweight division.
And do you have a fighter from the UFC that you would like to fight? Of course, the fight may happen, may not, but just in your head, it would be like a super cool fight.
Yeah, I think a super cool fight would be Tai Tuivasa. Um, he's one of my favorite fighters of all time too. He's just a brawler, big Samoan dude that just can knock anybody out. So those kind of fights are fun to be in.
Yes, yes, but it's like a little bit sad that he was at one point he defeated like Derrick Lewis and few other fighters, and then he went on the like losing streak. And I don't think that it's fair to like judge him only by this losing streak because in the end he's a much better fighter than this.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that I respect because he would just go and fight anybody. If a fight got brought up to him, he was probably saying yes to it.
And about your career and about you going to the cage. Let's say that there is like 30 minutes to your fight. Are you a stress? Yeah, are you like do you feel stress? And if yes, what do you do in that moment? Because probably it's like really tough one.
Yeah. So honestly, more of the stress comes earlier in the day because you're just sitting there and waiting, and you still have a little bit of time, but it's long enough to like kind of just get antsy and you're just ready to go. When we're about 30 minutes out, there's obviously nerves, but if you have good coaches and good teammates, they're back there training with you and kind of just keeping you loose and warm. And then also something I've learned from basketball and just any stressful life situation is just like focusing on breathing. Like if you do like box breathing, which is a technique from like the Navy SEALs, just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, and just like focus on calm, steady breaths. All the nerves and stress kind of just calm themselves down. So I would say when I do get stressed, I just try to focus on my breathing and control it.
Yes, of course, the breathing is very good. And also in this kind of stress, this is, of course, not a like bad stress. Also, the feeling maybe at that moment is not the best feeling, but like 3 days later, you will think, oh, it was a great moment to wait and see what I can do in the cage.
Yep, exactly. And every time you step in there, you're like, all right, I don't know why I was that scared. It wasn't that bad. So the more you fight, the more you get that in your head. Like it's all right. I've been here before. Just breathe. You're good. Like you're meant to be here, and this is for you.
And after the fight, like just after the fight, what do you like to do? Do you go usually to the hotel and just try to go to sleep? Do you prefer to eat something?
Yeah, so it depends where I'm at. Like for example, for this fight, I'll be in Arkansas, which is like 14 hours away from my home where I live. So I'll be out there with my stepdad and a few of my coaches. So if there's some fights on for the UFC after, we'll probably just fight and find a restaurant to go watch those fights at, and go get some food, hang out, enjoy our night, and watch some good fights. If I'm back home in Wilmington or fighting in North Carolina and kind of near my house, I'll go fight, get it done, come back home, shower up, and just go hang out and eat with some family and friends.
Yes, and in the end, probably it's like super hard to go to the sleep, even like 2 or 3 hours because the adrenaline is still in you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially after a win, you're all hyped up. You don't really want the night to end yet.
Okay, Alan, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. I think that your next fight will be a really interesting one. I think that he is a very good test in this stage of your career. And of course, I hope that with another win, maybe even a finish, you will get another like big fight, even bigger challenge than he is.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.